Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Hello, I'm Keilani Persian Mason, and I'm here with James Timmons, and this is Delightfully Dysfunctional.
Do 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 do
do do. James, how are you doing today?
Great. Last episode was amazing, but we didn't get a chance to catch up and touch base.
Typically we have our little catch up time, so I was feeling like it had been a while.
Yeah. And it's because a lot of our catching up is really real time on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. We try to do that intentionally. I think. I mean, it makes it organic, and I'm excited for our catch up time when it's podcast day, studio day.
Yeah.
And our studio is continuing because I know I've mentioned we have a home studio now for those of you who are listeners and aren't watching on YouTube, where you can kind of see, but we are excited. We got a huge neon sign that we're going to hang up.
Yeah.
We're getting into more of the decorating. So we know it's looked sparse, but bear with us or give us some design tips. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. See, I'm a realtor, but I have no eye for interior design.
Yeah. Is your apartment bachelor pad central? Is it
sure.
the bare minimum?
I got a coffee table last week.
There you
after
go.
living there for almost a year and a half, and when my kids came over, they were like, this is like a game changer. We can put our food on here.
Wow, the novelty.
Yeah. So
do you have anything on your walls?
No. Nothing on my walls.
In your cabinets are just protein powder.
Absolutely. Actually,
I'm calling this. Oh my god!
I'll give you guys a grand tour one of these days, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah." I mean, I cleaned it.
That's good.
I'm
impressed. Yeah.
I have a giant TV with video games.
Check again, bachelor pad. That would be on bachelor pad bingo.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't.
What else would be on there?
My mattress is on the floor.
Oh, that was gonna be next. That's such a bachelor pad move. Yes. Oh my.
Well,
goodness.
here's the psychological reasons for all those things. Is because it was
it's temporary.
Yeah, temporary.
Right?
So I didn't want to invest all in. If I when I had my house. I guess we didn't really have artwork on the walls. We had some.
Oh, really? You guys were kind of minimalist, maybe.
No, actually, we had some. But, I mean, we had a lot of furniture. We had a lot of stuff. And, we had a piano, a formal dining and everything.
Who played the piano?
I kind of played the piano. But my daughter, she got lessons. And that piano was given to me by one of my past clients because she needed to move it. And
that's expensive.
I was in the market, but she loved me. So she was like, James, you know what? You can have the piano.
Wow.
You just have to arrange for moving. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And so I got the mover.
How much was moving?
It was I want to say I have no.
I don't know. What a boring
memory.
question. I'm tell me about moving a piano.
I can Google it.
But I don't know. I've never had to move a piano.
I want to say it was $300 or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I had it professionally
Not
tuned, and that was a couple hundred. So all together, got it all dialed in. But then when I got kicked out and then divorced, that piano stayed. And it was completely mine. But of course, I'm not going to bring a giant piano into my apartment. My downstairs neighbor's like, oh, what the fuck?
What is he doing? So I was picturing someone who was just learning, but you do know how to play probably at least
I know
the
3
basics.
songs well, and that's it.
This is so weird. This is reminding me of a dream I recently had, which was about playing the piano.
Oh, really?
And I forgot about it until this moment. But I only know how to play from my 5 years, I believe, that my parents invested in piano lessons, and I was a little brat, never practiced. I retained 2 or 3 songs, none of them impressive, but one is just Ode to Joy. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, yeah.
dun. Right. So in my dream recently, I don't even know if it was last night, I had a dream that I went to a recital, but I was this age. And I went up and I was feeling proud, and that's what I did. And then afterwards I was super self-conscious about it, and why was I feeling proud? That's a song that like an 8-year-old would play. And I'm like, I'm 35. Why did I think that was a good performance? I was like questioning it. I should probably analyze that part of my dream. But that's really funny.
I think I would be proud of you if you played Ode to Joy.
Would you give me a standing ovation?
Yeah. I'd be like, you know what? It's wherever you start. That's all that matters.
I mean, and I would like to be clear, this was like the most simplistic version of Ode to Joy. This was not the impressive version. But
see, I was a world-class musician. So, I'm just kidding. No, so the songs that I know, I just learned all by myself.
Yeah.
I never took a lesson.
Right.
But
you and Zach, I think, are both good at like what you hear, you can mimic.
Yeah, well, there's like a musician bone where, like, I'm sure you can attest to this with maybe you or Zach, where there's a song that you love and you're like, I gotta go figure it out on the guitar, or so, you know. Like, I just actually yesterday at my sales meeting, I won tickets to the Bush concert.
Oh,
you know, they're coming to town. You know,
I didn't
Bush,
know that,
Gavin
actually.
Rossdale. Oh, well, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I need
to Tri-Cities?
at the fair. Yeah, so that tells you about their career.
I forgot the fair's coming up.
Yeah, next week.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, I need to learn one of their songs on the acoustic as a celebration for this monumental moment.
To commemorate.
Yeah. And so I did, and it was fun. Yeah, Glycerin.
Nice. I think I say this, I would really like to learn how to play the ukulele. I've decided. Zach
is it because you're Hawaiian? I'm just kidding.
I'm not, it's to further confuse people, though. Yeah.
Here's Keilani playing the ukulele.
Yeah, exactly. Really throw you off. Next time I'll wear my grass skirt, too. But, like, it's smaller than a guitar, so it's easier because, I don't know, I'm a smaller person. I have small hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel, and it's fewer strings to keep track of.
Yeah.
So I feel like the odds might be better.
Well, it's different. It's completely different chord structures, though. Does Zach know how to play the ukulele?
A little bit, enough to like,
okay, then good.
Know a handful of chords and things, but we'll see. I've had a lot of endeavors to learn instruments, and so far, I could probably shake a tambourine and I can sing Disney songs. That's as far as it's gotten me.
Bingo.
So I have, there's certain things where I'm also have to be realistic about the amount of effort I might put in. But it sounds fun to like be able to jam with Zach and like play my little ukulele.
I once invested in it's called a Get-to-lele, which it's just got it's got 6 strings like a guitar and tuned just like a guitar, but it's small body, so it sounds like a ukulele.
What? Maybe that is what I need actually, because it's the smallness that I want. But I already know like a handful of guitar chords.
There you go. I think we just solved the problem.
Whoa, you guys have never heard of this before.
Ted Brown sells them, or Musician's Friend, or Sweetwater Music.
I'm gonna ask Zach some questions and look into this for sure.
I made the mistake of buying one when I had very small children, and they were just like, brutal. Daddy plays the guitar, so I'm gonna take this and pretend to be daddy, and I'm gonna thrash it. Yep. And they did successfully.
No, that's what there used to be a ukulele right there on that shelf, but Priya has acquired it, and
is that it right there?
Oh, it was returned. Yeah, but that's what happens to that one.
For our viewing audience, we're going to get a shot of you holding the ukulele.
Oh, and I will...
You are technically a Pacific Islander.
Am I? I mean, it's Asian Pacific Islander. I guess, Japan is an island in the Pacific.
In the Pacific, so look at that. It's so natural.
How's it sound, guys? Is it doing something for you?
Yeah, and your dress gives Hawaiian vibes.
Wow, yeah. I got like flowers on it. Yeah.
You know what?
Did you know what? When I searched my name once, it was a ukulele company. Keilani
Really?
Ukulele.
You know what? Solidarity to the people who are going through all kinds of horrors in Hawaii right now.
Okay. Also, actually, that was insensitive.
No, it's not insensitive.
We've been talking so much about like just Hawaiian culture and here, like, and all the positives, which is beautiful. But like, we should take a pause to just say like, oh my gosh, the devastation that happened in Hawaii. I realize that this is going to be aired weeks after it has happened, but we are currently in the week of the fires that had happened and still understanding the devastation. And I'm just, especially the idea of it being an island where you can't get off when there's a catastrophe like that. My heart just goes out to anyone who is affected.
Yeah, our heart is with you, Hawaii.
Yes.
And we love you, and we're celebrating you. We hope. Yeah.
You will rebuild. But, oh, man, I looked through some of the before and after photos of like what was there and what is there now. And it's just like, very eerie.
That would be, trauma, just straight up trauma, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, dang. Sorry to like really take a...
You know what? This is a wild roller coaster, and that's what we intend to promise on Delightfully Dysfunctional. There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows.
Although that was the look. The white ukulele with the whole thing. Yeah. I feel like Hawaii listeners, chime in. Will you claim Keilani? I
don't think that's on their priority list right now, Jay.
I'm sorry. Am I the insensitive? Yes.
Will you take a moment and check this out while you're rebuilding your
I'm trying
home?
to get you a free vacay a year now.
Yeah, woo! Free vacay!
Wait, is this cultural appropriation? We're the same race. Sorry.
I know, right? I don't know.
Maybe I'll cut that out. I'm just kidding.
Well, I named my daughter Priya, and she's not Indian. Priya is a nickname for Priyanka, but because it's a nickname, I was hoping like there'd be some leeway. It was just a pretty name. Like,
well, my kids all have,
and I love the meaning.
My kids all have Hebrew names.
Well, yeah. So
biblical, yeah.
I mean, I guess I feel like we have to have some limits to what we're offended by, which actually flows really well into the topic that I want to go into today.
Segue. What are we talking about?
So this is actually someone that I learned about in graduate school and hadn't really revisited. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to talk about him. Albert Ellis was a prominent psychologist, and he created the Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, REBT. You won't be quizzed on that, but he founded REBT. And this is a real foundational piece of CBT work, or even DBT, because DBT is based on CBT. So a lot of these different theories are like, you're adding or combining sometimes different elements.
So REBT, CBT, DBT might give you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is anyone confused yet? Yeah. So it was this field of psychology that was about really adjusting your expectations and how some of your thinking can get in the way of your happiness or create negative feelings. So when we talked about CBT, it's probably bringing up some of the things I've said about that theory, because we talked about things like catastrophizing thoughts or all or nothing thinking, these unhelpful thinking styles that we can get trapped in. And this is similar. There's 3 types of thinking that Albert Ellis said are the 3 musts or the 3 demands. And they really reflect these really unrealistic ways that can lead to us feeling unhappy. And when I read through them again, I think these are all things that humans experience. So there's times when I've been in that boat, and it's a really good reminder. So one of them is believing that there's a demand that others must treat me the way I want to be treated, or I must always succeed, that there's some kind of a demand in how something needs to be. There's a must. I must do this.
Like an entitlement?
They must do this. A feeling of, like that people need to follow what I'm wanting them to do. That other people must do the right thing or else they're no good and deserve to be punished. But that criticalness towards others also tends to be a reflection of their inner critic as well. Yeah. So that it's really inflexible, and it feels like everyone should treat everyone else, especially me, in this fair and considerate manner, that other people must not act incompetently or unwise, and that other people must not criticize me. It's this belief that if any of those things aren't happening to my standards, that's bad or wrong. And I don't think that belief prepares you for the real world. Yeah. Where there's going to be things that happen. It creates a reason to feel more upset rather than how to like bob and weave through the waves of life.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, those all sound like reasonable, like boundaries. But then, like you said, it's not realistic to just expect it. And then if you become all triggered when somebody doesn't treat you that way, then
it assumes an authority over others, or this like feeling of not accepting human fallibility, which I guess, again, like if there's more critical feelings towards others, there's also tends to be quite a lot of inward critical feelings someone's having as well.
Yeah. So then a lot of shame, because if you're not performing to your standards, then you're expecting everyone else to live to those standards. And that's like, yeah, a lot of communities are that way. Then you're gonna hide those, and you're going to really vilify the people that don't live up to those standards. Like, you know, I'm trying to allude to is like some church cultures, you know, where it's like I was having this conversation the other day actually, but it was like, if, you know, we have to appear a certain way and to attract people like into our church.
Right.
And that's so common. And so it's like, so if you make some major moral error, then, you know, we have to like excommunicate you because that doesn't align with the culture that we're trying to project, you know, where it's like, it should be everyone's flawed. We know that. We believe in God, and it's like, we're not hiding from him. So why are we trying to hide characteristics and then make people feel like their humanness is a flaw?
Right. I mean, and that's exactly it. Like, I feel like it doesn't encompass just the sense of humanity. Or there was, I can't recall where I heard this, so I'm sorry if I'm not quoting someone correctly or giving them fair credit, but they called it a six pack, which has no reference to beer or any beverage, but it had to do with like, when there's something that you are assuming about someone, even if you, let's say you, this would be a good example maybe with when it comes to someone cuts you off in traffic and you have some road rage about it. Are you a road rage person?
I'm pretty bad.
Oh,
go ahead.
Man. And
I feel validated though.
Being able, and I mean, I get there are safety concerns
I'm kidding.
there. I realize that. So let's say like this is more of an annoyance in this situation, not a life or death situation. Someone cuts you off, you're annoyed, you're ticked off, you're probably feeling like, hey, you're behaving incompetently. Let's also come up with 6 alternative reasons for what happened, what could have been happening.
Oh, okay.
Is there a woman in labor in the car? Possibility.
Probably
and
not.
It also doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter how outlandish, but like, what are other possibilities that could be there? What are other reasons that someone might have done that?
Okay, I love that idea. That's going to be a new discipline that I'm going to try to refine in myself. My kids are really good about that, but I am the most like like arrogant, rude person when it comes to road rage. And it's like, okay, I have this belief that if you enter a freeway at like 45 miles per hour, you deserve the death penalty.
Wow, that was extreme.
I know, but that's my worldview that I've created. And like, I think the worst, I don't give them like any grace. I think that person is having a stroke. That person needs to get off the road. They need their license revoked. You know, that is unacceptable.
Okay, let's use that. Are they having car problems? Maybe their car is moving at the best of its ability and they're trying to get to a shop.
See, this is so great because like I'm sitting here just still condemning them in my mind. I'm like, no, they're none of that. They're just stupid.
Yeah, maybe they just got like a cast on their leg and they're like trying their best and kind of figuring. Now, granted, maybe you shouldn't do that on a freeway, but like the idea is to come up with alternatives.
Yeah.
And we're not making it to 6 with these examples, but on your own you would. So it's
to believe the best about everyone.
Yeah, and it's a part of, again, like the CBT strategy we had talked about before was that like black and white thinking. So this is tied into that. You can kind of see where that was born from some of these concepts. So another one is this belief, this must that some people, lots of people, I think human people fall into. I must do well and win the approval of others or I'm no good.
People pleasing.
I must do well and win the approval of others or I'm no good. So there's this sub-belief underneath that then of I must have love and approval from everybody. Is that realistic? Like,
no.
Everyone has different perspectives and beliefs. And,
I've been there.
Right, yeah.
And it's such a chaotic anxiety.
I feel that even because like an example that I can relate to currently for me is that the field of psychedelic therapy is so new And I understand how crazy it sounds right away because I felt that way when I immediately heard it too before I understood the research and really got into nerding out on the science. And there's that feeling sometimes of like, it's like, I know that it's true, and it's hard when other people question it, I guess, you know, and then that's approval, I guess, that someone is questioning the route that you're going down. Now, my passion for what I'm doing and learning far over supersedes that. But, you know, in times when I might feel more stressed and we all regress, that might be like, like how bold do I want to be?
Yeah.
It might have that kind of a question. I must be competent and successful. I must have an important skill or talent. I think especially in Western culture, that can be something where it's like everyone wants to just like shine and be the best.
Yeah.
And it's like we're not prioritizing maybe balance, or even those people who are far skilled in one area. That doesn't mean that all other areas of their life are operating well.
Yeah.
So again, like questioning some of our evidence there. I must successfully avoid unpleasant or undesirable situations. I can that's the idea that you can control situations to that degree, and unpleasant situations are a part of being human.
For sure. I mean, it's valid. Like, who wants to be in uncomfortable situations? But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like there's like a little underlying thing with all these.
Well, I think it's the difference though between if you think I must avoid those situations, unpleasant situations, that's different than saying unpleasant situations happen and are part of life.
Yeah.
Like you can do things to avoid them.
Yeah.
But unpleasant, let's say it's a hard conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Avoiding that conversation doesn't make it better.
100%. Yeah.
You have to have hard conversations with people. In fact, that's a huge tenet of why I'm here in this chair doing what we're doing. I want to model what hard conversations can look like, or deep conversations, because I think we're starving for them.
Yeah. And I mean, like, growth doesn't happen, without a little bit of
discomfort.
Yeah, discomfort.
I mean, what's that like? You need pressure to make a diamond, or there's all kinds of different examples of that too.
Our whole theme of leaning in.
Right.
Like, what are we leaning into? Awkwardness, discomfort, cringiness, like all that stuff. I heard this quote the other day where it was from the book that I'm obsessed with. But she says, humans are not wired to be happy. Humans are wired to be comfortable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is the something West. What's her first name?
Brianna Wiest.
Brianna Wiest. Yes. So The Mountain Is You is the book that James is talking about.
I love that book.
And I've started listening to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. We all want to find this homeostasis, which is oftentimes why if you set a goal and you find some difficulty, or you're in a place of ambivalence, not knowing where to start, you don't jump onto that goal, even though in a logical sense you might know that you need to.
Yeah.
Or it's also why you might avoid hard situations. That's honestly a lot of what I do, especially with teens, is using motivational interviewing techniques to really talk to them about their ambivalence about something. And that's increased, unfortunately. I would say not just with teens, that they're not taking action steps, and I'm making a generalization. And again, the population of teens that I work with tend to be more anxious and depressed, as you would imagine. But the idea of taking an action step towards their goal is really difficult because there are so many opportunities for distraction with social media, to numb, to use that as like, that's my pacifier, and like to pretend that everything's okay, or to just ignore. I mean, it just sucks your attention. And speaking of, we didn't do this in the beginning, but this is maybe a good segue to talk about how we're doing with our social media cleanse, because that was definitely something I noticed in the first few days. In moments where there was downtime, I was waiting in a waiting room or something like that. It was, I could feel that automatic reaction to like, oh, that's what I would be doing. Yeah. And instead, obviously chose to do something else.
Yeah.
How is it going for you?
Well, not good.
Well. Okay.
Admittedly, I'm so sorry.
That you're being honest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest about I've stumbled too, but yeah, tell me more.
Well, so I realized, because I rallied so hard about like, do what fits for you. And I realized I need to be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Relax?
No.
No.
Like harsher, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I need to take away.
Discipline.
Yeah. Because I'm posting every
Right.
all the time, but then because the one thing I was trying to eliminate was scrolling, which I have been really good about resisting scrolling, and that's been good.
Okay.
But I'm still putting things on my story for marketing, and I'm like justifying some things like marketing. But because like with this Instagram story, this is so stupid, but like it's like it feeds your narcissism.
There's a dopamine hit.
Yeah, when you see how many people have viewed your story, and you're like, who has viewed my story? Like that's what I'm addicted to. It's so dumb. But yeah. So that's one thing I need to resist. Yeah, it has not gone all that well for me, but it's still a new day.
Maybe like, do you want to give it a revival?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so maybe we can talk about what it is that you could do to make that easier. And I know you have to post for work. And I mean, like, it's the nature of being a realtor. It's the nature of like, you're basically the social media manager for our endeavor here.
But see those things though, like I can post those and not go back and check on them. You know what I mean? And I know where I need to be more disciplined. I'm, honest with myself.
Could you do it without having it on your phone and limit it to being on the computer?
I've never tried it, but I will. Yeah, let me try that.
That's what I've done. That's made a big difference.
Okay.
Is deleting it off of my phone.
Okay.
And then only having it on my computer. So it means I still log on, because like sometimes clients message me that way, which I redirect them to my email, but or inquiries, things like that. Yeah. And I use Facebook as like a utility. Like I like Marketplace. I have lots of therapy,
that's where I bought my coffee table,
networking groups, and like resources that I find on there, in addition to keeping up with people, because my family is scattered across the country.
Yeah.
And I have friends around the world from studying abroad. So I do like being updated on that. But I will say, having distance from it has really allowed me to reconnect with my life and find like that comparison that I think is automatic for anyone who's on social media.
Yeah.
That has really decreased.
That's awesome.
Like my desire. It's still funny. There's certain moments where I might be like, oh, I would have posted, like I probably would have posted something dumb about how hot it was, because my car said it was 111 yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
It was gross.
Yeah.
Or, something cute my daughter does and things like that. But yeah, being able, I don't feel driven by that liking. I feel more driven right now about the progress towards my goals. So it has helped me refocus.
Dang, you're selling me again on this.
Okay.
It was my idea. What's funny?
It was. You were really excited. But I'll tell you about the ways that I faltered too. Like when I do the dishes, I like watching a show on my phone if I can, or things like that, where, I've allowed myself to do some of those things still, but I have to do it in moderation, because it can be a slippery slope where then I'm like, okay, I'm on to the next task, but my show isn't done. So I'm now carrying it with me. And I don't want to be glued to it like that. And oftentimes it's like just the background of something familiar, not necessarily I'm riveted by it.
Yeah.
But it's a comfort. It's a comfort thing still.
Totally.
But it's not being present. So there's ways that I could still improve.
Yeah, no, everything you said, 100%. It's all, because in the past I would take little social media hiati, and it would just be wonderful. Like I would lean into relationships and stuff, and thankfully, right now at this moment, there are like new relationships where I don't have loneliness anymore.
Yeah,
and so it's like a pacifier, social media, because like I have this like deep fear that if I like go too long without it, then I'll get FOMO, or I'll like be lonely. But like I said, like life is, there's new people in my life now that I don't have to worry about that really.
Well, maybe it's a good time to try that. Yeah, you've reconnected with people, and I think you're feeling like you've had more ability to be social, which is great.
Yeah. I shared a couple of episodes ago that I felt like I reached a place of inner healing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I still have like anxiety, but it's
part of that inner healing. I think you were saying had to do with this, like one of these three major musts that we were just talking about, that I must do well and win the approval of others or else I'm no good. Because I think that was a really hard one you had to overcome when there was such judgment from your community, from your church community. Yeah.
Well, and like throughout my life, I'd always had like some kind of element of not caring much about what people thought because, but on like a weird like side effect of that, I got a lot of approval because I didn't care what people thought. So then that became my identity. And then I loved that was what I was labeled with as, you know? So then I did things to feed that characteristic of like, oh, James doesn't care what people think. Yeah, isn't that cool? Please tell me that more. You know what I mean?
It's so weird. It backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but now, you know, having like ruined my reputation and like kind of creating a new identity, it really is like non-negotiable. I have to not care what people think. I don't know if that made okay.
No, it does. I think and maybe I think in being human we need to care what people think. So now I'm being controversial.
Yeah.
To a degree, right?
Okay.
But I think maybe it's a reconnection with yourself and valuing yourself differently and shifting your thinking, because you don't want to be your own worst villain in your head.
Yeah.
That's not healthy. So I think that maybe shifting some of that, but certainly we are creatures of community. So maybe it's a shift that you realized, oh, this community isn't the right fit for me. That doesn't mean...
But I still need people.
But you still need people.
Yeah.
I understand that too. Like, I don't know. It's funny. I love that this happened this morning. I have a lot of friends. I seem to gravitate towards people who have actually left a church community or they find me. Anyways, and so that tends to be kind of the story of a lot of close people in my life. And we all talk about still missing the sense of community. And in studies of different religions, that has been the main thing that people like, that is a healthy aspect. No matter if it's Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, it's the sense of community and ritual that feels really good.
Yeah.
And so these friends said to me, do you want to have cozy movie church? Which just meant, do you want to meet on Sunday and like have this ritual of this is what we do? And I'm not minimizing what church and a spiritual experience is, but to us, what that meant was, do you want to have community with us in this group of people that we know truly cares about you and to have like a sense of connection with one another? To me, that's what that was saying.
You know what it's called?
Wasn't minimizing it.
It's called curious culture.
Curious culture, folks.
Delightful humans. We're creating it. No, absolutely. Like I remember when I went back to church after like, I want to say like 2 years. There was COVID that happened where all the churches shut down, and then my huge like midlife crisis where I isolated a year after all the churches reopened. So then I went back. I remember feeling electricity, like that energy from just other humans.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not the same as listening online or whatever, you know? And so because humans emit energy and we need it. But yeah, that's the one thing that that churches do really well is have that community. And I wish that everyone had a version of community like that. But lately in my life, like I said, there's new relationships and people, and I feel like I'm building like a little community of people, and it feels really good, you know?
Yeah, the rebuild.
Yeah.
I feel that. I mean, even I have a lot of friends who I care for dearly, but the busyness of being a parent and many of them also being parents, like finding the time and the space to meet regularly when like we're a household where both of us work.
Yeah.
That's been like a tricky point for me. And I don't know, like I would love if maybe we need a different neighborhood where it's like, you know, it's someone right across the street needs to have some kind of an ease. Like I want to be like the Friends show, essentially. Could all my friends just move into the same building? So I'm describing that we just need a commune. You see how quickly that
No, I'm tracking. It's possible.
I'm joking.
We need to find an abandoned office building in Richland and then just take it over.
Just take over. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, we went on a rabbit trail there. Did we though? That one. I mean, okay, we're going back. We've stayed just to for clarity. We're going through Albert Ellis's 3 musts. These thinking traps we can get stuck in. The first one was, I must do well to win. Oh no, that was the second one. The first one was, other people must do the right thing or else they are no good and deserve to be punished. So believing in that only creates more negative feelings and upset. Inflexible thinking towards others and ourselves. I must do well and win the approval of others or else I'm no good. Again, this places unrealistic expectations on ourselves. There's no possible way to have the approval of everyone. And that's being overly concerned with the opinions of others. So there's a balance there. Self-worth is not measured by achieving any kind of popularity contest. The third one, now we're on to the third one. Life must be easy without any discomfort or inconvenience.
We kind of talked on that a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
But say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Life must be easy without any discomfort or inconvenience. Like things must go the way I want them to go. I must constantly worry about life's predicaments to have control or to avoid and change things. I must avoid rather than face or deal with life's difficulties. It must be easy. It has to be easy to change something or I don't like it.
I love everything that you just said. I agree with all of that.
All problems must just have that perfect solution. Oh, here's a good one. Justice, fairness, equality, democracy, and other right values must prevail. I cannot stand when my values are trodden on. Here's the thing. You should stand up for what you believe in. That's not what I'm saying. But in the reality of this world, please understand that that isn't a realistic belief. There will be times when your desire for fairness is stomping on someone else's value and what's fair and what's just to them. So there's going to be clashing. Yeah. And I remember there being certain things in my life. I can't remember the specific instances or examples, but I remember the feeling of disappointment and kind of grief when I had to encounter the truth within these different musts that he's pinpointed, where it was like, you know, like crap, like life isn't as clear cut or easy as I thought it should be, or I have to let go of that expectation. And I'm talking about when I was much younger, but I think we can all, if you've lived enough life, you can read through these and understand, or listen to them and understand how they've maybe held you back.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one? Life must be easy without discomfort or inconvenience.
Gosh, I would love if life was easy without any discomfort or inconveniences. I mean, realistically though, it will not. That's not realistic. But I mean, you know, like if I could live in this beautiful, euphoric world existence, where I never had any problems, I would give everything for that. But that's not possible.
Like, we might have a perception that that's a life that some other human lives, but I truly don't know them.
No.
Like, if I believe that, I must not know them well enough.
Well, a lot of people project that.
Right. Which brings us back to like social media comparison too, and like putting out your curated life.
Yeah. And so when you, in comparison and all that stuff, when you see somebody else living a life of like perfection and like everything's great and, you know, and you actually believe that, then you feel like you're failing. But like the most comforting, like when I was going through my financial crisis, it made me feel way better when people would say, dude, the economy is awful. So many people are going through financial stuff. I'd be like, I mean, that sucks for them, but it's comforting that I'm not alone.
Right.
Because when you have a problem, a lot of times you'll hyperfixate on it, and then you
feel isolated.
Yeah, you think you're the only one, and then you don't want to talk about it, which is the worst. And but yeah, I just wish, and I try to do this. I try to like put my problems out there and share them for everyone, which is not really like respecting my own privacy, but at the same time, people will tell me like, thank you for sharing that. Like, that was really helpful, you know?
I do, like, in terms of what you share on the podcast, I do want you to have some respect for yourself and what's going on.
Okay.
Like, yeah, well, however we could instill that just for your own, like, well-being, because you're not, I don't know, your emotional hard points don't have to be like, you know, meat for the wolves. Not that, like,
yeah.
You know, again, listeners, I don't mean anything bad by
I think
that.
she just called you all wolves.
I know, but I like wolves. No, but I hope you guys understand. I mean, when it's taking a risk to be somewhat public, even though I'm being very humble about our lovely little group of delightful listeners.
Yeah.
We're in the beginning, the infancy of this passion project.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to maintain that, like, respect for certain things that, like, okay, this can be private, and these are the things that, like, I'm really ready to share and figure out.
I agree with you. On the one hand, it's like I am an oversharer big time. And then there's times where I'll be like, oh, I didn't need to say that. That was unnecessary, you know, but then maybe, you know, some people will glean.
Yeah, I think
things.
a lot of people have listened to our openness on the podcast. And I'm not being anti-vulnerability. I just think being vulnerable means respecting the pieces that you are ready to share too.
For sure.
It doesn't mean, you know, filleting yourself and being like, I need to just be this open wound of like.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times I'll have that thought, right? And I'm like, I don't want to share this. I shouldn't, but it would be really good entertainment, and I'm just gonna go for it, and I will. You know, and but you know, I live for the applause, Keilani.
For the applause.
Just kidding.
Oh boy, I know, but you know, it's my job to bring you back down to earth. That's what I've decided.
Total side note. You know, whenever you say passion project, it always reminds me.
Oh no.
Do you know? Have you heard of passion parties?
Yeah.
It always reminds me of that.
I totally signed up in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah, I think I did one, and I was so mortified by how awkward it was. I was like, I'm good.
I remember.
But I think I was building still off of maybe I should be Dr. Coochie, the sex therapist.
Passion
Here we
parties.
go.
You know how well that would do?
Well, at the time, I couldn't say like penis and vagina without blushing. So it wasn't like working at the time. But I feel like, you know, I don't know, maybe again, if this does well and I can afford getting a doctorate, maybe I'll do that, delightful humans.
Be on the lookout for Dr. Coochie passion parties.
Oh, no. That's not what I just meant the schooling part. I don't really see passion parties.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Maybe that's your thing.
Dr. Coochie passion parties?
James Timmons.
It is so catchy, though.
It is. Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest.
Actually, this is another okay, I'm going back to our topic. Albert Ellis, the 3 musts. Life must be easy without discomfort or inconvenience. Another kind of sub-belief underneath that is this idea of I must not die prematurely, or I must not experience depression, rage, or anxiety. Like these are things that would be clearly, we don't want to die prematurely, but there are people who can be so fixated on that that every, you know, hiccup is catastrophized, and it takes away the enjoyment of their life. It stops them from being able to be grateful and present with what's happening right now. So I know that a lot of these sound clear. Of course, I want justice, fairness, equality. Of course, I don't want to die prematurely. These don't sound like bad things to believe. You also have to take into the context of like, does it make sense within the reality that we're in?
Yeah.
And then maybe you need to adjust some of that belief or give it some nuance. Not that it's so black and white. We don't have control over all those things.
Yeah.
And does fixating on it actually lend to positive benefit or not? Those are good questions.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the whole position of all of them is like living defensively and like in fear mode. Because I had this thought the other day where it's like you can fear death and live your whole life in fear of how you're going to die, but you're only going to die one time. So like, just, cross that bridge when you get there. You're going to die, yes, and it's inevitable. So like, don't live your whole life in like trying to prevent or prevent your death, because the thing that is actually the most detrimental on your life is stress and anxiety. So if like, I don't have permission to share this, but I'm going to anyway. Like, sorry, we just kind of went over this.
Change names or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mom, dang it. Okay, I blew it.
You don't have to.
My maternal figure. I'm just kidding. Okay, my mom, she's a fear of the sun. She's always afraid.
Such an Asian thing.
Yeah. She's always afraid of like skin cancer and things like that, and so she makes big accommodations to avoid the sun, and I'm of the camp that the sun has been around as long as people have. So like
even longer.
Somehow I'm betting that your body has figured out how to coexist with the sun. Like, but that's the type of stuff that you have, like you can be so irrational about that you're just gonna like kill yourself that way because you're avoiding the thing that you think is gonna kill you, but something else is gonna kill you.
I mean, like the activities that involve being in the sun, you're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
You're on the sidelines, not an active participant. Maybe.
Which, by the way, I think sunscreen is a conspiracy.
I think there was something like, well, I shouldn't say this without proper knowledge. Because I don't.
Let's just go for it. We're going to be controversial. It'll get us more views.
Well, I thought there was a study recently, and I'd known this for a while, but it was like the FDA or something. See, now I really do. I'm going to Google it. They were saying like, yeah, sunscreen does have carcinogens.
Yeah, it's you're rubbing a chemical soup into your skin because you think the sun is going to kill you. And I'm like, guys, like I said, the sun has been around for a hot minute, and like just go to the shade, just in the shade.
They changed the regulations for what is in it because of that. But again, yeah, exactly. And we have to find that in between, that balance in the reality of and nature of the world that we live in and what's really possible. Because I think, as we're gearing up to political season, which I'm not looking forward to.
Are we just going to have a whole year of debates?
No. I mean, I want some, but not a whole year of them.
No, I don't want any.
No. But like, I feel that sometimes we view that it needs to be some kind of utopia, our country. And clearly we want good things. But if we're using this model of being realistic about it too, like, your idea of utopia is not everyone's idea of utopia. Yeah. So this is just to create a gray area and to not feel as though we have to be so black and white. Also, we certainly have comparisons like, is it Norway is the happiest country, I think? Or like, there's a lot of references to other countries and like, well, they're doing it right.
Wakanda.
Or they're doing, no.
Wakanda from Black Panther.
It's the Care Bear cloud.
Yes.
I think that it's Care Bear Cloud, yeah. But they have other problems too. Like if you're only taking one piece of an equation to make your argument, that's not reality. They deal with reality and their own issues within their country too. So we have to have this a balanced perspective, and that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Don't aim for a utopia in the same way that you wouldn't aim for life being easy and perfect, because that's not realistic.
I'm aiming for me-topia.
Terrible.
Sorry.
So many eye rolls this episode. My eyes hurt. They ache.
That's all episodes.
It's true. They can't go farther back to really express how I feel.
You've got a really good look at your brain.
Any other thoughts on some of those, mic drop truths from Albert Ellis?
No. I don't have any other thoughts.
Okay.
Great. I do. Wait, what are they called? Oh yeah. Wait, what's it called? Albert Ellis is what? It was
three demands. Is
the must. The three musts.
Musts or
Every
demands,
time you say it, I keep thinking Three Musketeers. That's
how you can remember it. Albert Ellis and the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
So, yes, to wrap it up, these are the things that you will want to catch yourself on because they will only lead to you feeling worse about yourself or worse about humanity. And we're all for curiosity and connection. So, number 1, I must do well and win the approval of others or else I'm no good. That's poppycock.
Yeah.
Others must do the right thing or else they are no good and deserve to be punished.
That's hogwash.
Hogwash, yeah. Life must be easy without discomfort or inconvenience.
And that's bullshit. See? 3
Ba-dum-bum.
synonyms for falsities.
Exactly. Should we segue into our advice section?
Oh, we have an advice?
I'm taking a look right now. Let me check. Also, remember to write in to our advice section. You can find it through the link tree in the episode description or in the YouTube description. And we are always available to hear out what's going on with you and try to give you our best advice. Again, not a replacement for therapy, but an opportunity for us as two other delightful humans to give you our heartfelt thoughts and hopefully some guidance.
Low key, it is kind of a good replacement for therapy.
Legally, I can't say that. It's not a replacement for therapy. I haven't spoke to you.
This is basically therapy for me. It's been wonderful.
It's comedic therapy.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. Okay. Actually, we don't have an advice, but I feel like I have one. Maybe I have a personal one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
No.
Ooh. I want to hear yours.
Oh, okay. I was excited for it not being about me for a second. Let's see. I guess it's because I have family that's scattered about. It's hard to prioritize who to visit, and I feel sometimes easily guilty if I haven't gone to visit someone. But like my two remaining grandparents who I love and adore are like on the extreme opposite ends of the country, Florida and Alaska.
Yeah.
And even though clearly like Washington is the closest state to Alaska, it's still quite far away.
Yeah.
So having family scattered all over, I feel it's played a big role in my life, really. I've talked a little bit about that as far as like growing up in Minnesota where we didn't have any family and I was surrounded by these big families. So I have this desire to obviously be closer, but it's tricky and it's difficult. And now, especially as grandparents are aging, it feels like there's more urgency.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I'm not sure. Maybe if I had like a specific question, it's just,
what do you do?
Balancing all of that, especially like, I don't know. I want so badly for my grandma up in Alaska to feel connected to my daughter. And at the same time, like it's harder to maintain connection and to be able to get a hold of her has been more difficult. So it's just, I don't know if there is a firm question I'm realizing as I talk. It's just, maybe I'm throwing it out there, man. It's hard when family gets older.
Yeah.
It's hard seeing your family, even your parents' age. It's triggered for me as my grandparents are aging that I will be in the position that my mom is in of having a lot of concern and care and needing to navigate with her siblings, like how to give that care to her mother. And so, yeah, maybe it's just like watching your parents and grandparents get old is hard and it sucks. That's my concern.
You know what? You're right. It is really hard.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable. But yeah, there's that anxiety of like, oh gosh, we're on borrowed time, and I want Priya to know her legacy and have that, like, yeah, my mom is like the direct link to our Korean heritage. And so like my kids, they're not close to my mom, but I always tell them like, I want you guys like spend some time with her because she's like, that's such a part of your identity that you don't even know anything about,
Yeah.
to experience Korean culture, just for their, just so they can experience it. Yeah. So then like your grandparents, well, okay, the one in Alaska.
So these are actually my Japanese grandmother, my grandma Sue. She passed away, and so did my grandpa. So these are technically my step grandma, but she, like, I talked to her on the phone yesterday. As far as our relationship, it's no different. And then my maternal grandma is up in Alaska.
Okay. So yeah, but then there's like that they existed in a completely different world, and they have a completely different perspective. And I mean, there's just something that it would be beautiful to glean from them. So yeah, like I understand that anxiety, but like, are there plans of like going up and making a special visit to Alaska or anything?
Yeah, I've been talking with my mom recently, and she might be able to help with coordinating and maybe come with, and that sounds exciting. So I'm hopeful that in the next year I'll be able to go up to Alaska.
Yeah.
And I need to work on maybe not feeling guilty. I'm realizing that then there are other people that means that they might have to wait longer for a visit.
You know what you could do, Keilani?
Oh.
Because you have a podcast, you could do a mobile interview of like
with who?
With both grandparents. Yeah, I don't know, somehow like structure it where you're like the lessons
that
from
could
your
be kind of
generation.
fun. Yeah. I actually did with my grandma Sue. I am really grateful, and I should find this. I gave her like a like old school tape recorder and like a cassette tape to talk a little bit about her life. And so somewhere I need to find them. I love that I have her voice recorded.
Yeah.
And I did ask her those questions, and it came at a time when she was ready to talk about it too. So we talked a lot about her childhood and her like things that my dad didn't even know, and things about like the internment camps that they went to, and what it was like out of the internment camps, and the racism they experienced. And it was really powerful to get that opportunity. And so maybe I feel like it's a little bit sad to feel as though I don't get that in-person opportunity maybe with these other grandparents. It's making me really value and appreciate the life that we do have here.
Yeah. Well,
And,
because our several conversations, like it's recorded and it's immortalized. So like our children will be able to go back and reference. They'll get to like understand our hearts, you know?
No, it's true.
And so like that would be really cool because all of human history is simply a collection of stories. Every legacy is just stories. And so
every story I think could be like this major motion picture, like Academy Award winning, if you really could tap into the heart of where someone is at. And what
I know some really boring people,
Really?
I'm just kidding. Well, we live in like Scienceville, boring.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, one day I went to my storage unit.
Yeah, like
boring.
Like there's internal dilemmas.
Although they probably figured out how to like split an atom, and that's pretty cool. But
yeah, we do. We live in there's like a nuclear plant. There's a lot of scientists and engineers and
eggheads.
LIGO.
Boring. I want action. I want flames and bullets and explosions. Give me that. Okay,
that's what your motion picture of your story would have.
I would put in Michael Bay would produce it. It would be so exaggerated.
Oh boy.
It'd be like James sang the national anthem and his voice cracked, but there was an explosion or something.
Yeah, that was why. There was a reason.
He had a machine gun.
He'd been poisoned.
Yeah.
There was a conspiracy.
Yeah. See? We're already writing it.
I don't think this is the same thing as
no.
people.
Yeah. Maybe we could inject those things when you interview your grandma.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Spice it up a little bit.
I think you should, though. I think you should interview both grandmas. And
I'll give it a try. Yeah, because I like that idea. And here's the thing too that's crazy is our grandparents and the age demographic we're in. Like one of my grandmas, like she was born when cars weren't fully adopted. You know, like it's cool. Crazy to think about those things. The amount of change and industry and how everything has just. It's sped up so much.
Yeah.
You couldn't have predicted that someone could have lived a lifetime through all of those changes through the decades.
Well, I bet you could ask one question, like, maybe give them time to think about it, but like, what is one thing you would tell the world, that you want the world to know after you pass or something like that? And then like unpack it. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see where they take it. My one grandma, who lives in Florida, I don't know, man. She likes to gamble and shop and decorate. So it might be something about...
So maybe it could be an intervention about gambling problems.
Oh.
Gambling addiction.
I think she's got it under control. You go, girl. You do your thing, Grandma.
And she sounds badass. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, it just has me thinking about that. And it has me reflecting on, my relationship with my mom, with my parents, and my appreciation for them. So it's a good thing wrapped up in this reality, I guess, of we have to accept that the people that we love pass.
Yeah, they do.
Some of them pass while we are alive to live through it, and that can be hard. And
you have to accept that the people that you don't love don't pass.
Sometimes, at least not.
I mean, they do.
Eventually.
But some people you want to die, and they're just
I never specifically had that thought. Tell me, do you have a plan?
People who go on the freeway at 45 miles per hour. I don't want them to die then, because then they'll crash and cause a huge pile up. I'm sorry.
James, when you're 80 and you're trying to drive with your bad eyesight now, are you gonna get off the road?
No, because I believe
45?
old people should not be on the road.
So I think we should keep the road safe too, but do you think you and your pride would accept that?
See, now you get it. See, now I feel like I am so much better than everybody else. I'm just kidding. By then, autonomous drones should be a thing. Human passenger drones. So I'm gonna really bank on that.
And I'm not debating that we shouldn't, people who aren't qualified to be driving shouldn't be on the road. I'm just playing the advocate for
by the way, guys,
alternative thought.
I'm mostly kidding. Mostly. But
it's okay. You've got road rage. I mean, it happens.
We should probably unpack this sometime.
Next time.
Yeah. Next time on Delightfully Dysfunctional.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, delightful humans. I love sharing this space with you. Please comment, share your thoughts with us. If you have any advice that you're needing, we are happy to be of service and to give you our unprofessional advice.
Yeah. Well, you're a professional. My unprofessional advice.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.